Hello. Oops. Hello, this is Scott Carpenter. I wanted to do a quick Mike the Rancher update. Let's get everything adjusted here. There we go. There we go. If you can hear above the cicadas and the neighbors, do a click and the cars going by. But Mike the Rancher reached out to me. Let that guy go by. And that guy go by. So Mike the Rancher reached out a couple days ago and just gave me an update. And the story's too long to get you up to speed. But the short of it is that Mike is a rancher. And a couple years ago, he had an issue with Sasquatch clans on his property, a large ranch, hunting ranch, working ranch. And rebuking, which was calling on the name of the Lord, and in his power, didn't work to get him off his property. And we came to the conclusion, for biblical understanding, that he was dealing with an issue of dominion, and that these Sasquatch had dominion, and therefore we used a biblical principle of striking a deal with them. In other words, bartering a deal. And I think I've got I'll try. This is the guy with the large diesel truck that loves to blow through the neighborhood. So back on to the update. So Mike struck a deal with the Sasquatch. He went out, he bartered with them. He made a deal with them. He didn't give them alms or, any trinkets or offerings or worship them or pay them any platitudes. He basically did a deal. And the deal was, you leave me alone, you leave my animals alone, you stop ripping the doors off the cabins, you stop killing my livestock, and when I go hunting, I'll leave you alone, you leave me alone, and when I go hunting, I'll give you the choice tender organs, and I'll set them out for you, off the ground where you can get them, the heart, the lung, the heart, the liver, the kidneys. And so he did that, and he had peace with them for about 6-8 months, maybe longer. And when I say made a deal with them, they didn't speak to him, but he went around his ranch and locations where he had encountered them and spoke out loud to them and gave them the specifics of the deal. So they listened, they heard him, and they knew. And so then Mike had a little relapse where things kind of went sideways for just a little bit. They started throwing rocks. They threw a rock through the barn, and we think that may have been a sign that, hey, we're hungry, and winter was just winding down. But Mike went back out, reiterated the deal, and said, this is it, period. And since he's done that, he's basically had nothing but let me say this, he's had no issues with them doing any of those sort of things around his house. They've not killed any livestock. They've not ripped the doors off any cabins. So now they've been doing stuff, which, it's their property, and they're going to do things, and I'm just going to get you an update, but nothing directed towards Mike the Rancher. So here, let's see. I have to get back. Let's see. Let me get down to the right part of the text here. Hang on. So, so it says, here we go, found it. And of course, here comes car. So Mike the Rancher said, been very quiet around here, around the ranch, not a single thing to report. The usual tracks away from the house, but zero. And I mean zero issues since my ultimatum to the Sasquatch. What's your honest opinion on the Egger fella? I'm really on the fence about trusting anyone with this much supposed information that does not show any, unlike you have for years. Hope these days find you well and blessed. Praying for us all, Scott. God bless you and your bud. And I said, great news. This is my response. Great news. Glad they're leaving you alone. I think Edgar is being honest. I heard of similar encounters with the Sasquatch and observed that, where people observed them going in and out of portals. Edgar is a fellow that is a physicist that saw a Sasquatch going in a portal in another country, and he reported that his encounter was read by Steve Ishdahl. And he says, let me pick your brain here. This is Mike the Rancher speaking. I'm finding tree stumps uprooted, stuck back in the ground, with deer and elk heads sitting on the roots 10 to 15 feet in the air. Are these just the, hey, I'm here signs, or are these warnings? Note these are being found on my normal routes to various trails we use to take hunters back in on hunts. My response was, I would say they're just signs that they are there. If there's not been any negative activity associated with the stumps, then I do not think you have anything to worry about. And then Mike the Rancher comes back. I found the elk head on one, the exact deformed left side antler, and the perfect 6-point side that I had shot 2 years ago and something stole from my hunting cabin. I was blown away to find that on the top of one of these trees, stuck in the ground upside down. I said that wrong. I was blown away finding that. So basically, Mike had a elk that he'd shot, and one side was a perfect 6-point, and the other side was a deformed head, and then it got stolen from one of his cabins. When they were breaking into the cabin, something stole it, and it was basically left. The elk head or elk skull with the horns was left on one of these stumps that had been flipped upside down and jammed into the ground. Said I even went back through trail cam and video to make sure it was. Couldn't believe they would return the skull like that. So after 2 years, whatever took that skull has brought it back, given it back to him. My guide in full-time hand, Sean, and I stared at each other for a minute, completely shocked, but knowing that that was the non-typical bull I had stolen from camp. It was a very eerie experience seeing that. One more strange thing for you. I found a mountain lion that was twisted in the middle of his body, twisted to where his hind legs were facing the opposite from his front half legs, like it was someone wringing out a towel. Not one thing else on the cat very recently killed when we found it. It wasn't even stiff yet. And I said, it sounds like they were making a peace offering whereby returning what they stole and talking about the antlers. And, the twisting is, basically, if studied Sasquatch kills, that's how they dispatch animals, twisting their necks, twisting their bodies, breaking legs. So, let's see. Edgar says, this is my stance on this. I've turned it over to God. He will guide me with help from good, honest people like you. I don't care who or what they are anymore. I do not want any interaction between us. I'll keep the deal we put in place as long as they do. I just want peace. Yes, at times I'll listen in when I have time, which is rare. And yes, always be curious and hope those seeking answers will get them, but it's in God's hands here. Thanks for the help, my friend. I'll be in touch. If you ever get an itch to harvest an elk, you will always be welcome here on my ranch for a hunt. Of course, and some other personal stuff. He said the cat was twisted so much, I'm very surprised it was not torn in half. Maybe made my skin shiver. The kind of power it would take to do that to a serious predator. And I talked about it. I said, yeah, I've seen how they kill deer. The power's unnerving. And I said, thanks for catching me up. We're praying for you, my friend. He said, praying for you as well next time. So Mike the Rancher seems to be doing good. They're doing some weird stuff as far as, I don't know if I call it weird stuff. We always say, well, it's weird stuff. Well, they took stumps, turned them upside down, jammed them in the ground so they'd be noticeable, and then they put it on the traveled trails to the hunting cabins, and they gave him the elk head back that they'd taken from him 2 years previous. So I see that as a good sign that things are going well. They returned something they'd stolen, and everybody's keeping the deal. And God's watching over everybody. So that's the quick That's the quick Mike the Rancher update. When I hear more, I'll let you guys know. Everybody take care and be safe out there. Till next time. See you later.